So the folks, they ask me, Jason, why old comics? Well, maybe I tell them about the groundbreaking stories those old comics contain, masterworks of far-wrought fantasy and fiction written by some of the great visionaries of their day. Or maybe I'll rap about the astonishing art from an era that saw some of the most talented creators in the medium produce disposable entertainment that's still being talked about today. Still other times I'll just smell an old comic at them. That's always good for a laugh. But on occasion, I'll point out some of the wild advertisements tucked between those mind-bending stories and eye-popping art, reminders of another time when life might be improved by plastic lifts in your shoes or learning 101 crowd-pleasing harmonica tunes. From home art courses to lose weight while training to teach English as a secondary language in space, comics pretty much offered us everything. Don't believe me? Well, make an adult beverage, kick back, and laugh along as we explore severed fingers, performing lizards, and giant-size alien eyes. Okay, first up, here's the aforementioned art course that wants me to spend 5 minutes a day practicing drawing Bob Hope. Well, I did, and now I can't stop. I've drawn him on alleyway walls, on toilet stalls, anywhere that will accommodate that ski slope nose of his. I'm not really sure how this gets me a job in art, but I have gone to some interesting places. Next up, we have this fabulous live toy circus. But live isn't just sizzle for the box of plastic and cardboard junk you have to assemble yourself. No, because someone managed to capture and stuff a real live chameleon in the box with it. Yes, that's right, folks. You get a performing chameleon for free. If by performing you mean scrambling around desperately looking for an escape, then maybe. I don't know. Let's look him up. Chameleon, distinguished by zygodactylus feet, rapidly extrudable tongues, prehensile tail. Yeah, there's nothing in here about them being born thespians. I mean, they've literally developed the ability to blend into their surroundings so as not to participate in our tiny circuses. But do we take the hint? Nope. I guess this little guy should have learned something useful, like how to sting, or maybe play guitar. And why not? It's the 1950s, and here in the good old US of A, there's no shortage of disenfranchised cowboys, hopped-up jazz musicians, or train car riding hobos to teach you how to make the strings sing. Take Ed Sale here. Ed taught me how to play guitar in 7 days, and now my teenage cousin won't stop looking at me. Bodybuilding ads were ubiquitous in old comics. We all chuckled over Charles Atlas, but he was just the tip of the muscular iceberg. Take this one promoting the Jowett system. Now, some of these seem harsh but reasonable jibes. Chicken-chested and spindle-armed at least scan as insults, but half alive? Jesus, the kid just needs to eat a sandwich is all. There's no need to get macabre. Now, George F. Jowett says that if I give him 10 pleasant minutes a day, he'll give me a real He-Man body. Now, I'm not sure how George defines pleasurable minutes, but he did call me pal, and suddenly my defenses are down. Maybe I'll just take some Miraclo. As these ads show, obsession with body image was clearly nothing new. Back then, you were worried about being too fat, or too skinny, or perhaps sometimes both at once. The extent to which you were expected to pursue these idealized physical forms was considerable. Aside from archaic weight loss devices, there were weird foods like Kelp Candy. This candy must taste as good or as better as your favorite candy or your money back. Well, some quick research has shown me that it's made of seaweed and iodine. I'll tell you where to send my nickel. Listen to me. Do you hear that nagging voice in the back of your mind telling you that usurping another's will for your own benefit is wrong? Yeah, ignore that. This ad couldn't be clearer. Hypnosis is fun. It's written so that you can understand it. Stuff those morals up your ass. If you can't trust Rocket Wholesale, then who can you trust? Next up, from the School of Dr. Seuss ad copy, if you can carry a tune, you can play the gahoon. Apparently, this was a large spring with a saxophone mouthpiece mounted on it, and it sounded about as awful as you'd expect. Still, things didn't go so well when I attempted the guitar a few ads back, so the gahoon it is. Follow the link if you'd like to hear an example. And what in the Sam Hill was going on out in Palisades Park? The ubiquity of these ads was almost startling. For some reason, Superman wanted my ass out at that park bad, and he was gonna get me there, even if he had to underwrite the whole thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too cynical. Maybe I really missed the bus on this whole Palisade Park thing. I mean, when was the last time anyone wanted me to go anywhere that badly? If I'd played my cards right, I might have met Emmett Kelly, Roy Rogers, and Captain Astronaut. Sheesh. Speaking of Superman, here's another attraction that he pushed, this time at the World's Fair. These little scene photos give you a sense of what it may have been like, upsetting cyclopea nipplage and all. Groovy Dwight D. Eisenhower necklace, Midge. You get that with your ARP card? What? Dick Clark? Self-defense was a big thing for comics readers back in the day. It seems some thug was always trying to bust up your party or tumble your game. So why not break his hand like a match? It was easy. He was helpless. Cartoon muggers from the 1940s will quiver at your bone-crushing prowess. Here's one for the ages. Personally, I can't wait to hear Maureen Partridge's advice to 1970s girl me. Heck, any girl can be popular, especially if they had Chad Everett's private photo album. Let me tell you, folks, this guy is not shy. The term hanging Chad is coined here. But hey, perhaps I'm just better off growing 7 monsters. You gotta admit, these look great. But the gag here is that they're just some corny old seeds they send you. Well, at least one ended up being interesting. Of course, there's your monsters, and there's your creatures, as in scary giant-sized alien creatures. This ad was still running in comics when I was a kid, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't want one of these puppies. Yeah, I know it's just a balloon on a string, but this damn thing's positively Lovecraftian. Rises, jumps, floats in the air. I'll take a gross of these, thank you, and send them inflated. Clearly, most of these ads would not fly in 2019. Take the ubiquitous spy scope. Your girlfriend and other bathing beauties will all relax in their natural pose. Through a paper is just one of the many ways to do it. Probably a good tip to remember when you're doing time for harassment. Many children of the 1950s can be forgiven for thinking that this Tom Corbett invisible space helmet actually worked, when in reality their parents were simply ignoring them. Mom! Hey, Mom! Look, Mom! And this wasn't the only example of hucksterism on Tom's part. I'd point out the cheap goggles, but I'm more concerned about the spaceman's hot pink gimp suit. Tomorrow's a frightening place, folks. And finally, here's one I can't take, but a little bit personally. People, they talk, and Johnny wasn't perfect, but he loved his kids, and he didn't deserve to end up a toilet seat. I miss you, cousin. Be it the Slido-Matic 2-in-1 lighter, or the Shroud of Barbara Ann Scott, those old ads are the gift that keeps on giving. For the old guys who like Old Comics Network, I'm Jason Mink. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider supporting us at the link below. Bob Hope thanks you.